I'm Sean.
And I'm Aubrey.
And you're watching BooVille TV. Welcome, ghouls and ghoulinas, to another episode, the first official, number one, episode of BooVille TV.
Welcome back to BooVille TV. First up for review is the 1957 horror sci-fi comedy, Invasion of the Saucermen.
I love this movie.
I loved it too.
It is one of those wonderful 1950s films that doesn't even remotely try to take itself seriously. The screenplay was by Robert J. Gurney Jr. The story itself was based off of a short story called The Cosmic Frame by Paul W. Fairman. The movie takes place at Lover's Lane. What do kids do at Lover's Lane? Well, to give you an idea of the feel of the movie, and indeed to make you want to go see this movie, watch this brief trailer. Go ahead and refill your glass. Watch this trailer, and we'll be back with you here on BooVille TV in just a brief few moments. Enjoy.
Hello, police headquarters? This is Carter, Johnny Carter.
Oh, sure, they're from another planet.
What a dilemma for young lovers Steve Terrell and Gloria Castillo.
He thought I was kidding him.
Nobody will believe the invasion of the Saucermen. All this makes it seem natural for a beer-drinking bull to appoint himself chaperone of Lover's Lane.
Hey, for Pete's sake!
And a farmer with the longest shotgun you've ever seen plays the villain.
What's so funny?
Well, I expected to be frightened on my wedding night, but nothing like this.
It's our busy night, too. We've been flooded with calls from people who say they've seen flying saucers and little green monsters. Wonder how that rumor ever got started.
It's too fantastic to believe.
Just think of it. Only this special unit and the President of the United States will know what happened here tonight.
Wow.
What? Yeah,
That.
Oh.
I especially loved the little needle things in the hands that just came out of nowhere.
I love it too. It looks like that would hurt to do, but
The dissolving thing, too, the squelchy, I don't know what that... Anyway, Invasion of the Saucermen. Wonderful, wonderful movie. Also, and when we first watched this, I'm looking. I didn't read up on it. I just, Invasion of the...
Hold on a minute.
I stopped, and I looked at Aubrey, and I went, that's Frank Gorshin. That's
Like a young Riddler.
That's the Riddler. What in the actual fuck is going on here? Yes, the Riddler. And the Riddler plays sort of a two-bit crook, con artist. You really don't get much background story on the two characters. Joe, and which is played by Frank Gorshin, and the other guy, and I can't remember. The one that's always sleeping and not believing what Joe's trying to tell him. That guy. The movie opens with a dissertation by a young man about what happens to the youth, and there's really nothing to do in this town of Hicksville. Yeah. Meanwhile, you see children on Lover's Lane doing what?
In a cow pasture.
They're studying, right? That's what kids in the 50s did.
And Lover's Lane, it happens to be a cow pasture.
In the middle of nowhere in the dark, where they have to pass by the farmer's house.
The crazy farmer that brings his shotgun everywhere and will pull it on you for no reason.
And it is a very long-barreled shotgun. Well, while the kids are studying, they're studying anatomy, but they're studying biology. And a lot of beer in this film.
Lots of beer that they just have, they throw it. They just throw the
beer. Throw the cans out.
In the yard.
There's a bull, which belongs to the farmer, and we'll talk about the bull later. Well, Aubrey will talk about the bull later.
And the interesting thing about the farmer is nobody seems to care when they encounter him and his shotgun in their face.
No. The plot is... How do I put this? At best, the plot is
like Walmart cheese. Like the kind of cheap cheese that you buy from Walmart.
Like government? Like welfare cheese?
Kinda, yeah.
It's good and it's filling, but it's full of calories and not really much substance.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's a good description of this film. It is full of cheese and there's really not much substance, but it is amazing nonetheless for its goofy factor.
I'm just glad it didn't take itself seriously. I think that added to it that it knew. It intended to be cheesy, funny, campy, bad.
How about the Air Force people that were just, you're expecting this, because again, this great government cover-up, and it's briefly mentioned, yeah, we're tracking UFOs, just don't let them find out about it. And wasn't he was either a major or something, used to be like a PR guy in his civil life. And he was like, we don't need a PR man or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like the scene where
I think he was a reporter because
the scene where the general's taking a shower.
Mentioned like don't say anything to your reporter buddies. So
the film, it doesn't get dull at all. If nothing more, then you're sitting at watching going, did they just... Okay, we'll just suspend our disbelief. Okay. The aliens themselves.
Now, it was dark. I will give them that. It was hard to make out, but they looked planty.
Planty?
Planty with, like, weird eyeballs.
See, and I thought they looked more brainy. Like, huge craniums.
Well, the head,
big eyes.
But, like, if you looked close up at their hands, it almost looked like they were made of vines and things.
Yeah, like real squelchy and organic.
Yeah.
With fucking needles that come out that can, in one shot, disable 1950s tires, and in the next shot, kill someone. So perhaps there's some sort of...
But you find out how they kill someone later on.
Which I'll let you talk about that.
You want me to give away the...
Really? It's been around since 1957.
Okay.
I don't think you're giving anything away.
What it is... The couple get framed. The main couple in the story, they're leaving Lover's Lane and they have to keep their lights off. They almost get hit by the government guys, and then they hit an alien. And they think it's a kid until they do a close-up inspection of what they actually hit. And that's when the tires get popped when they get back in the car.
Wolverine style.
Yep. And later on in the movie, they go back to the farmer's house to try to use the phone. They walk the fuck in his house. You know, the guy that pulls a shotgun on you.
The only time anybody home? All right, let's go get some candles out of the kitchen that they just happened to know where they were. Use the old school crank phone.
But anywho, they try to convince the police, and later on in the film...
Wait. It's the ghost train.
It is the ghost train.
Here's the ghost train going down the track with a spooky stack. I thought it was okay. Casey, Dumbo,
yes,
spooky.
Yes, I understand the reference.
Train.
Thank you. No.
Okay.
Oh. Fine. So later on in the film, they finally get a police officer to come down there, and come to find out, Frank's character is dead. He encounters the aliens, and they kill him with the needle things.
Ugh. What's that, bub?
Well...
What's adamantium skull? You want to do me, bub? Walk east till your hat's blow.
Yes. In one scene, you see the alien trying to dent the front bumper of their car.
I forgot about that. Where the hell did they get a jackhammer from?
Aliens have...
On the Moo Cow spaceship?
Yeah, the spaceship, when the noise it made sounded like a ghost cow.
That's exactly what...
Well, the couple is confused about why this alien is damaging their bumper. And they assume it's because the alien is primitive enough to think that the car is the one that killed its friend.
Because, human arrogance would be the first one to assume. And he even says, Johnny even says to Joan, well, the Savage obviously thinks that... Really? The Savage? Motherfucker. He traveled in a saucer from fuck knows where with technology that is far beyond the capabilities... With jackhammers. With technology that is far beyond the capability of you or this film. However, the Albania State Washing Machine Company probably has more technology than this film. However... Very 50s. Very,
I am man. I am better because I'm man. It's very, very 50s indeed. Well, anywho, you find out why the alien was denting the bumper, because later on in the movie, the police pick up Joe's body, and apparently the alien framed the kids for killing him.
So clearly, savages have the idea to conceive of a crime and then conceal that crime. Well, let's not give everything away.
No.
Let's talk about
my favorite scene?
My
favorite scene in the whole movie. One of the aliens does encounter the bull. And it tries to attack the bull.
And the kids get the bull drunk all the time.
All the time. With the beer that they throw on the ground and it drinks it. But anywho, the alien tries to attack the bull, and the bull rams it with its horns, and you see bull horns impaling alien eyeballs as the alien is stabbing it with its weird needle things.
Wolverine claws, Bob.
And you see the bull fall over, and the alien is dead. Well, should I just go ahead and... Don't... What actually happens when you get stuck with the needles?
Sure, why not? I'm so sorry that this is not really good production quality here on BooVille TV because I had to get up and go get some more wine. However, you'll deal with it because, well, it's us.
Yeah. Basically, the needles secrete... The needles secrete straight up alcohol. Yes. And apparently, if you're already intoxicated, the amount of alcohol that the aliens inject you with kills you. The bull did not die. because the bull has the alcohol tolerance of Jesus, apparently. But that's the reason why Joe actually died, was
water into wine. Jesus.
was because apparently too much alcohol intake.
In 1966, this movie was remembered so well that it was repackaged as a made-for-TV movie. Do you remember those? They don't really do those that much anymore. They stopped kind of doing those in the early 90s. Yeah, but, no, I'm talking about the network channels.
No, Sci-Fi still does it. Unfortunately.
No, I'm talking the network channels. ABC, NBC, CBS. Made-for-TV specials that were extremely popular in the 70s and 80s. Well, in 1966, it was redone as a made-for-TV movie called The Eye Creature. The Eye Creatures.
Which is bad because...
Which has nothing...
The worst part about it is that it was cheaply remade.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid of what they mean by cheaply, if it's in comparison to the original.
Hey, the original had state-of-the-art special effects and
jackhammers.
And drum.
Hey, the bull was pretty damn realistic.
The bull was very realistic for a real bull. Just saying. And the crazy, whacked out farmer was pretty crazy and whacked out.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Invasion of the Saucer Men. Skull rating. 1 out of 10 for you. And why?
I don't know. I would give it like a 2.5.
What?
Because it didn't take itself seriously. It knew what it was. It was intentionally funny, and it did its job. It was very humorous, for as cheesy as it actually was.
2.
A 2.5. Because I thought it went to its goal and beyond. For the 50s, I mean, it was exactly what you'd expect from a very 50s alien movie.
No communists, though.
No communists for this time. No communists. But for what it was...
Damn alien commies.
I mean, it was intentionally funny, and it was. They succeeded.
Why a 2.5, though?
Because I really enjoyed the crapness of it.
I, as always, am going to differ from the lovely Lady Aubrey. I'm giving it a straight 6. A solid 6.
6?
A 6. And the reason is for the exact same reason that you gave it a 2.5, which I don't understand. Yes, it was cheesy. It's the fucking 50s. Yes, it did not take itself seriously, but it knew it didn't take itself seriously, and it was a tongue-in-cheek film. And for that reason and that reason alone, the fact that the producers of the film recognized that it was tongue-in-cheek and went with it, and it wasn't completely over the top like an Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, that they balanced the delicate tightrope of we're making a sci-fi horror movie, but kind of. And the fact that in 1957 this was packaged in the way that it was, to me it's a 6. It's good. It is a horror film, a horror comedy that is good for the entire family. And you do have to keep in mind there are some creepy kids that grew up in the 60s that now have small children.
I will say, as a horror film, I will give it a 2.5. But as a comedy film, for me, it does get a higher rating. because there was so much more comedy than genuine creep factor.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the creep factor is virtually nil. There are a few really cool moments. The very first time you actually see one of the aliens. And because, again, I am more a fan of the classics than Aubrey is.
Don't get me wrong. I still love the classic films, but
that I can put myself in that mentality where I haven't seen a Freddy, I haven't seen a Michael Myers, I haven't seen something like that, where to the mentality of the 50s, whoa, what was that? And there is that brief first viewing of the alien where you see just kind of a going that way on the screen that, to me, steals the show. So again, for me, it's a straight 6. For her, it's a 2.5.
Well, 2.5 as a straight horror film.
Total. We're doing total. We're not splitting hairs.
Total. Okay.
Now, don't backtrack. Now, you said 2.5.
2.5 as a horror film.
Yep. Yeah. The whole package.
The whole package, like a 3.5. It's.
This has been a review of Invasion of the Saucermen, the 1957 classic, with Frank fucking the Riddler Gorshin. Riddle me this, Batman. In it. Stay tuned. You are watching BooVille TV. Welcome back to BooVille TV. I am Sean, this is Aubrey, and we're going to be talking briefly about the spooky news.
Spooky news. Oh, yeah.
Okay. For those of you who do not follow the regular news, in Dallas, Texas, the first official American, maybe, we don't know, has been confirmed with Ebola. Why is that spooky? Look Ebola up. That is a creepy ass illness. Well, the CDC will not confirm whether or not the individual that is infected is an American citizen or not. Suffice it to say that the CDC said that this individual had been traveling a lot, did have contact with people in Africa that are currently under the Ebola epidemic. The CDC also wants to remind all of you that in this country, which is America, the United States of America, I might add, we are technologically advanced and it will be able to be combated. This is not a third world country, and there's no cause for alarm.
Until zombies start rising.
No cause for alarm. It's fucking Ebola. Ebola. The virus that looks like this.
Nope. Not at all.
None whatsoever. You're fine. Don't worry about Ebola. If you have some fever and some chills and some throwing up, it's probably just the cold or a flu. You're not going to die. Ebola. Welcome, my ghouls and ghoulinas, to a review, a solo review. And today, I want to review briefly a game that I knew about when it came out, but only just recently purchased the source book, or source books, because I am one of those people that played Vampire the Masquerade from day one. When the game came out, it was absolutely amazing. It was a wonderful game. It was a neat new concept of vampires and clans, and each clan has their own discipline and this, that, and the other. And sadly, throughout the years, the majority of people that play, and that still play, lost the focus of what the game was. And it turned into, as I like to say, a let's kill the prince this week type campaign. And for me, I am a cerebral person. I do not like an exorbitant amount of unnecessary combat in RPGs simply for the sake of having combat in RPGs. So, in 1998, White Wolf, the company that produced Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascension, and so on and so on and so on, dubbed 1998 the year of the Lotus. And what the hell was that? Well, that was another one of my favorite things is Asian culture, specifically China. 我会说普通话. Yes, Chinese speaker. But the game that came out to alleviate the humdrum, been there, done that of Vampire the Masquerade was this book, Kindred of the East. This tells of the vampires from the Far East, China, Korea, Japan. The book came out in a hardback form because, again, I am a avid Amazon junkie. I purchased this book in absolute mint condition for $1.19, and that was including shipping. Sadly, not many people caught on to this game, or fortunate for me, because in the current scenario that I'm running, it's a Sabat game, but I've incorporated a lot of Guijin. The vampires of the East are completely different. They are not cursed children of Cain. They are not descendants of a curse. They, poetically put, they created their own hell, and from that hell they climbed out and were given the second birth. There are no clans in Kindred of the East, but you do have Dharma paths, or paths of enlightenment, which are similar to the Sabat paths, but not exactly. The book and the game itself was brilliantly thought out. The artwork is beautiful, and if you are a gamer who loves Vampire the Masquerade, and I know you're looking at me going, how could you be possibly sick of vampires? I'm not sick of vampires. I love vampires. I've always loved vampires. I love vampire films, vampire soap, vampire, anything you can get your hands on. If you are a collector of gaming books, even if you never run this book, really? If you never run this game, pick yourself up a copy and rifle through it, read through it, and you will enjoy it for nothing more than a book. If you do decide to run a vampire scenario, throw some Guijin in there. I'm not going to give too much away because I want you to get the book, for those of you that game, and for those of you that game dark things. There will be a review for my absolute all-time favorite horror game coming up on a later episode. But I think that's something that Aubrey needs to review with me. And perhaps we might even have an interview from a very good old friend. So from myself here on BooVille TV, this is Sean. You are in the crypt. Pick yourself up a copy of Kindred of the East. This book gets 9.5 skulls from me out of 10. And the only reason that it doesn't give the extra is that there are some little bits of wonkiness as far as how to incorporate it into a VTM game, which that does get resolved in the companion book. So the companion book kind of clears up some of the questions that you might have as a storyteller. But for a source book, get it 9.5 out of 10 skulls. From Sean here, you are watching BooVille TV. Stay tuned. So that's it. Episode 1. A fun, spooky, packed first episode. I have no doubts that we're going to look back at this if this continues.
I wonder what the fuck were we doing?
Well, maybe. But from the crypt, from here, I'm Sean.
I'm Aubrey.
And you have just been exposed to and watching and tortured by BooVille TV.